Hi, I'm Sarah, one of the coaches here at Dumpling. Today, I'm joined by Coach Ashley and one of our successful business owners, Dominique Turner of Makin Groceries for You, and within the greater New Orleans and surrounding areas. Dominique has started her dumpling business in 2020, and she's completed over 1,876 orders on the platform so far. Today, we're going to be chatting with her about her business and how she has gotten to where she is today. So, hey, Dominique, welcome and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Would you mind giving us a little bit of information on kind of where you started prior to finding dumpling and what made you want to start your own business?
So I started doing personal shopping in 2017, I think, right around the time when my youngest went to school full time and I was looking for something to do just because I was I needed something to do. So I started with Instacart and Shipt, and I was going back and forth doing both of those. And I was seeing a lot of people pretty regularly, and they were getting to the point where they were asking if they could request me. And that's not something that's available on either of those platforms. And I was pretty regularly getting the same thing. Can I please have you as my shopper? Oh my God, I love it when you're my shopper. And I was like, no, sorry, there's nothing that I can really do about that. And then the pandemic hit, and I had a lot of feedback from those same people and some of my family members that were like, you're really good at this, and this is a great time to start a business. Maybe look into how you can do this yourself because you're good at it. Did some internet research and came across dumpling, and it's been a go ever since.
I love that. I think that is such a perfect example of why you're a good fit for this because you didn't even have to decide that. The customers were able to say, look, you really stand apart from other people that deliver for us. Um, and it's just such a great example. So I'm so glad you phrased it that way.
Thank
How
you.
has how has your experience working for those apps shaped how you've built your business? Um, was there any kind of takeaways or changes that you decided to go with?
So the main thing that steered me away from the big box delivery companies was how much I was encountering fraud from um, the customers. So I knew I was doing a great job. I knew I was giving 5-star service, and I was getting 1-star dings for things not being delivered or things being broken or missing deliveries completely. And I knew I wasn't doing that. And it was frustrating when I was given 110 and I wasn't getting the support of the company as a driver. They always took the customer side. I always got that ding, which started to affect my income because once you start getting bad reviews, then you're getting less opportunities to get jobs. So when I started my own business, I paid attention to who was ordering from me, and I was able to filter in what type of clientele I wanted to have for my business, which made a huge difference because yeah, I give everybody a chance. Everybody can order. But once I see my interaction with you throughout that order, I can say, well, this is definitely a person that I want to have as a client moving forward. Or I don't think this is a great fit for me, but maybe you can find another dumpling business owner to work through, or maybe go back to big box.
Exactly. And not only that, but like when you think about it, so all of those kind of issues, even if they could have been a really great client, but they're not able to contact you, right? It's because
Exactly.
it's going through Shipt or Instacart, they don't have your number, but that's completely different, right? So now they have your number. If you missed something in your car, they can text you and say, "Hey, my milk didn't show up." And you'd be like, "Oh no," and then run it right out to them or go grab
I'm
a new job.
I'm completely accountable for what goes on, and I have all of that in my hands. So if something is missed, oh yeah, they didn't have it, you didn't pay for it, you don't pay up front, so it's fine, it's not on your receipt. Or let me run to another store and see if they have it. I have the flexibility to do those things that I didn't have with the big box.
I
Exactly.
think the extra communication as well too. um, the extra communication helps because sometimes when we hear like my order wasn't delivered, but someone delivered, they just never switched from their office address to their home address in those
Yeah,
apps. And there's not a human to like have a stop there. But when they're working with you, it's all kind of confirmed. And you're not just going to drop something and walk away like you're supposed to on the other apps. You're going to say, hey, did you get this? And so even if there is a real issue, sometimes it just needed a human in between, but the only option they have is refund or bad review.
Exactly. And I find now that I'm having to reprogram a lot of my current clients because they will get that text saying that their order was completed and they're looking for their delivery right at the moment. I said, no, this is not one of the other delivery companies. That's just letting you know that I paid at the register. I always send a text and let you know that I'm on my way. You'll get a photo confirmation if you want it left outside. So it's completely different in the amount of communication that I have with my clients now.
So, what do you find or that you like most about having your own business in comparison to coming from the gig world like Shipt or Instacart?
Absolutely controlling my own schedule, not having to be locked into picking hours and having to work on those specific schedules. And if I miss an order, then I'm knocked out of the schedule. My flexibility is insane and incredible, especially because I'm a mom of young kids. So I like being available and able to do things with them and still have my business.
Mhm.
Um, Controlling my own pricing, being able to set my pricing so that I'm not dependent upon tips. Tips are lanyard. We call it lanyard here in New Orleans. That's just something extra. You're not dependent on it. It's just if it comes through, great. If it doesn't, I still made the money I needed to make it make sense for me.
That's so important.
That's awesome. Yeah, and we find when that happens, it's just a better feeling with clients
It
too.
is.
Yeah.
It's
You feel appreciated. It's like, oh, you
yeah,
paid me and you tipped me. You must really like what I'm doing. I appreciate
yeah.
that.
And they did it by choice, right? It wasn't an obligation. And so
Absolutely.
it feels good on their end too, is what we've definitely heard.
I
So
never I never felt good about setting up a situation where I was like, I'm not taking your order unless you tip me. That
yeah,
it feels weird to force somebody to do something that's an add-on.
I've always kind of seen that as it's not really a tip at that point, right?
Right.
It's forcing
It's a
you to
fee.
another fee.
It's a
Exactly.
fee.
You're calling it a tip. A tip should always be one of those things that a client does because they want to, because you want to get
Exactly.
it done. They want to show appreciation.
It's about
While they still know you're making enough, without that. So
that.
for your clients who have used other apps, what has been kind of the feedback that they give you now that they're using your business? Is there anything that just really stands apart for them?
So a lot of times I think my clients get the benefit of my OCD because I'm very ticky and I shop a certain way. If I wouldn't bring it home to my family, I'm not gonna send it home to yours. I pay attention to moldy fruit. I pay attention to puffed packaging for meat and stuff. And I try to share that information on my Instagram page to let them know, look, if you're out shopping for yourself, even if you're not using me, don't get this because this is not good. Don't do this because this may bring a bacteria into your home. So I pay attention to the items that I'm bringing to them. I communicate constantly, and I think they appreciate that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it can be a lot for people to kind of remember everything or know everything. So it can be super helpful when somebody like you is posting on their social media little things, whether it's how to store a specific item or a recall that maybe just happened, or like
Yes,
in this case, look out for X, Y, or Z when you're picking out your fruits or your meats. It can be super helpful for people just to kind of be like, oh, I never even thought of that. Especially, even people that go to the store every week for their families, they may or may not even have an idea of some of these things. So I think that's super important.
especially when there was a recent frozen fruit recall. If
Yeah,
I know that I've been to those stores and I've bought frozen fruit recently, I'm gonna definitely put that up on my page because you guys need to know, if I can't remember who it was specifically, I know that they're following my page and they'll see that and be like, wait, let me check my freezer or my items and see if I got that stuff. And then you can handle it from there.
exactly. Awesome. So kind of to switch gears just a little bit, what is a challenge or a few challenges maybe that you've kind of overcome within your business since you started?
Um, Initially, it was learning how to price my product. how to price my service. Um, I was trying to initially build a clientele. Like I said, I got a lot of people from big box world that followed me, but it wasn't enough to sustain me because it's not like orders are just coming into you constantly. You have to hit the pavement and build your own client list. So initially, I think I underpriced a lot, just trying to build up clients and say, look, I can do it for this amount, I can do it for that amount. And then I realized that I wasn't even making minimum wage with the amount of effort that I was putting through. So once I built a client list and I was able to reach out to everybody and say, look, I have to make some changes because of this, this, and this. And when I laid it out, everybody was absolutely fine with it. They were okay with it. They went with it, and I haven't had a problem with that since. My other thing was figuring out my delivery zone. I live on the West Bank of New Orleans, so I was just doing West Bank stores, and I was getting a lot of demand for stuff in other places. Whole Foods is nowhere near me. A lot of specialty stores are nowhere near me. So I had to gradually add those and open up my delivery zone, and that brought a lot more business into what I was doing. So I think that was pretty much it. Learning how to market myself, learning how to build my Instagram page to get more followers, which has been key to building my business and getting it seen. My Instagram page has done so much.
Yeah.
uh, Branding, making sure I have on my logo everywhere that I go. My business cards, I have my QR code on the back, gives the hours and everything. My bag stickers, this is how I attach my receipts. So I try to stay on brand and be branded everywhere, so that even if you just see the logo, you like, I know the Makin Groceries lady,
Yeah.
and sometimes that helps me to get me recognized and gets clients from that, because they're able to check our reviews and they'll join.
It's so funny that you say that because I obviously follow you and I've always just kind of seen this as like you make it look easy, right? It's just so seamless. And so it's, I think, nice for people to hear that in the beginning, though, that was something that you kind of had to work through too, just like everyone else, right? And
Struggle, so much struggle, just trying to figure out what was appropriate to put on my business page, as opposed to
yeah,
something a meme or something funny that I might put on my personal page. That might not be appropriate for the business page. What kind of content do I want to have for my business page outside of just promotions? What would be useful to people day to day? And now I kind of feel like it's like just little life hacks and
yeah.
different stuff that's going on. And I think that's why people tend to like what's going on now. But it took me I'll be 3 years in April, right before my birthday. And it took me a year to try to figure out what worked and what didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's so funny because it's definitely a transition, to go from being a gig worker to being a business owner. And some people kind of think, oh, I'm just going to get that overnight. I'm going to flip a switch and I'm going to get it. But we all have to kind of keep learning and growing.
Yes,
Um, and you don't always
absolutely.
anticipate that.
And I think because it's something, especially for those of us who enjoy shopping or it's something that we like to do, you think you're just going to be able to jump in and, it's just going to flow seamlessly. But there are business aspects of it that you really need to pay attention to and master before it starts running smoothly.
Yeah, exactly. I guess a next question there is what do you do that sets your business apart? I know you do a great job at taking care with the groceries and communicating with clients, but is there any other services you provide or anything else that they're just not going to get from another service in the area?
Well, outside of just my tagline is any store to your door. So anywhere that will take a visa, I will go. I've done people's Christmas shopping. I have done, this. Can you get this for my wife? It's her birthday. Can you run to Dillard's? And yeah, I can go to the mall or back to school shopping. I do that every year. Everyone wants their back to school shopping. Putting together Easter baskets. Like literally anything. If it's in my power to do it, I'll try to make it happen.
I love that.
I wanted to go back onto social media a little bit. So we kind of talked about, obviously you use a lot of, like, Instagram is a big one for you, and you find that, over the years you've kind of learned what works and what doesn't work. Could you talk maybe a little bit on how you have been educating people on just food in general within your Instagram stories? We kind of had talked a little bit about it earlier, of just the different things that you post about, but what a few different examples that you tend to just like kind of put on there for your clients.
Okay. I try to catch videos when I'm actually shopping so I can get real time. Well, this is what you might see in your store situations, but uh, for the longest time, the biggest one that was most popular was picking a watermelon. Just what are you looking for when you're picking a ripe watermelon? Find a nice yellow spot. Make sure it's round, not oval. Listen to the sound of it. People were like, I didn't know that. Or an avocado. Remove the stem if it's, it may be soft. Remove the stem. If it's brown underneath, then it's too ripe on the inside. Look under the stem and see what you just how to pick an avocado. Like little simple things that you would think like is common knowledge. A lot of people don't know.
That's awesome. And how often do you typically tend to like post on your Instagram page?
I try to post. I try to do stories every day,
Okay.
but I'll try to make a post at least twice a week. If I can put up some reviews and that people have highlight reviews once a week, or updates about my schedule, or
Just kind of whatever
any
pops.
kind of little video, just at least once or twice a week, just to keep everybody engaged. But I try to add to my stories at least once a day.
Awesome.
Love that. As aside from Instagram, is there any sort of marketing that you have found works really well for your business or that you do regularly?
So I don't know if everybody's familiar. We have something around called Next Door, which does your neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods. I will post not ads, but just like if you could shop at any store, would you? If you could get delivery from this store, would you? And that will start up a conversation. And usually I'll interject. Well, I'm a delivery service, and I'm in your area, so let me tell you about myself, and it'll sometimes go from there. I like Nextdoor. I like Facebook, though Facebook is not as has not been as popular for me as Instagram. I tried Twitter, but I don't know how to work it at all.
There can be an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't know how to do the Twitter at all. I try.
But what's kind of you mentioned this a little bit when you first started, especially you were, diving into social media wasn't necessarily comfortable for you, right? You had a lot to learn. So what kind of made you comfortable over these years? Like what have you maybe learned or used to kind of help teach yourself, whether it's tutorials or just kind of messing around and seeing what works? What have you found worked best for you?
A lot of tinkering and messing around and seeing what kind of works for me. Initially, I was doing the just follow a bunch of people and hope they follow you back to grow your audience until I was able to follow targeted businesses in my area or people in my area. The mayor followed me, which was huge for my business page because then everybody who followed the mayor and likes to follow everybody she follows started following me, and I started making connections that way. So that was huge for me. Um, Learning how to schedule my posts so that I didn't have to sit there and try to do that every day. I could sit down one day out of the week and schedule posts, and then they'll just pop out when I need them to. That was huge because I don't have time to sit there all the time and try to make a post, think of content, and get that stuff put out in a timely manner. Knowing what time of day to post. Don't post too late at night because everybody's not up to see it then. You want to post between 8 and 9 o'clock during the day, and that's when everybody's usually up. And then throughout the day, they will see your stuff, and you'll get more views. I took a social media marketing class as well.
Always helpful.
Yeah, it definitely helps too, because then you learn what those insights are to learn things like time to post, and things.
Hashtags. I didn't realize that hashtags were important under your post because people who follow those hashtags will then see your post as well. So it gives you a wider audience than what you might have in your followers, and will gain you followers.
I love too on your social media. Sometimes people struggle with Instagram to really get people that are local to be following it. But you've done a really good job of sprinkling in content about the area, which really kind of helps remind people this is where I am, right? If you're in California, you're not going to be able to order from me.
Right.
And so,
I mean, down to my logo, Making Groceries is a very Louisiana, New Orleans like term. My
yeah,
colors are purple, green, and gold. That's Mardi Gras. We just got to Mardi Gras. It was wonderful to have my shirts on during Mardi Gras because I get to wear my purple, green, and gold. But it's very a New Orleans business. Like I said, I'm talking about crawfish delivery right now because we're in crawfish season. Everybody's loving that you can just get crawfish and fix and see your door. So I try to keep it authentic to where I am, but also just general knowledge for anybody who might be following me from anywhere.
I love that. And I know within that too, you've ended up partnering with a local restaurant that is very popular for your service.
Yeah.
And that's been so fun to just see that kind of come about and become such a thing.
It listen, so the way it happened was just it was so organic because just by chance somebody asked me to deliver from there. And because I can go anywhere, sure, no problem. So I go, we meet each other. He's like, "Oh, you're a delivery service." I'm like, "Yeah." And he likes to support a lot of black owned businesses. I'm a black owned woman business. He was like, "I think we should partner up." And it's been a go ever since. And Dumpling has been so amazing in the fact that they saw me going constantly. And someone reached out to me, Renee, I love her, reached out to me and said, "Look, let me make a custom tick for you just for Chicken's Kitchen, upload all of the prices, upload the menu," sat there and built a whole thing. And it has been integral and game changing in how people are able to order for that.
That's wonderful.
And all I
Does
had to do was a little how to order video. I pinned it to my Instagram page, and that's how everybody runs through it now. And it has been amazing.
That's so fun. Do you find that you get a lot of clients coming from it's Chicken's Kitchen, right?
Yeah,
Is what it's called. Do you find you get a lot of clients coming from there that you wouldn't have otherwise seen, that are kind of they go there first and then hear about you?
absolutely. Because once again, he allowed me to um, put a flyer. So I have a post that's right by the register with my business cards. He mentions me in every post every day when he mentions the menu. I'm pinned to his Instagram page as his delivery service. So I think he has something like 15,000 followers. So that's an audience that I never would have gotten to this early in my business. And a lot of them will order lunch delivery from me and then convert to grocery delivery. So I've had a lot of that because they didn't know I did grocery delivery. They thought it was just lunch delivery. So it has opened a lot of doors, and I'm very appreciative to Marlon for that.
That's awesome. It just goes to show that you really have gone in there and been your full self and been very kind and respectful and taking care of their customers, and that kind of builds upon itself. And at that point, that train is going. There's no stopping it. Everyone's going to tell
Yes,
everyone
it's
else.
great. It's a real nice atmosphere, and everybody's kind of just chatting in line, and I'm handing out business cards, and so it's a good time.
That's awesome.
So, where do you kind of see your business going in the future?
That's a great question because and people, you're not the first person to ask me that. I would like to say that I would expand to more drivers under me. I don't know that I would want other people to shop for me because you're not gonna take the same time that I take, or it wouldn't be up to the standard that I may have. But I would definitely like to have someone that once I'm finished shopping to drive it or deliver it to somewhere because that would help me to have more of a reach. At this point, I can only do what I can do as myself and maintain the quality that I expect of myself. If I had another driver or two, that might really change the game for me.
Yeah, especially because you do all these restaurant deliveries, right? Where you're not necessarily shopping those. It would be a little bit easier to delegate those. So I hope that happens and I kind of look forward to seeing when you
I,
get to that point.
I look forward to it.
So within the evolution of Dumpling, um, and your business, has there been any sort of feature or change at Dumpling that has been helpful for you?
Yes. So I'm a pro status dumpling business owner.
Yeah.
So there are automated messages that were added that have been so helpful for me. Prior to being a dumpling business owner, I used to do my own welcome message and greeting and closeout message. I had different text shortcuts that I would text to the client while I was shopping. Just that feature alone has saved me so much time. And the fact that I don't have to think about it, it automatically goes out. It keeps clients engaged. I don't have to remember, oh my God, that person hasn't ordered in a couple of weeks. Let me shoot them a text to see if they need anything. That is now handled from me. I'm getting texts saying, "Oh, I was going to order, but I just haven't had a chance." I didn't even know a text went out, so I'm just responding like, "Yeah, that was me. Sure, that that yes, I'm engaged and thinking about that. But dumpling has taken so much off of my plate, and the stuff that they do back of house is just amazing. I love it. Um,
To be fair,
reminding,
it is still you, right? It's still your
yeah,
word.
it's still
So
me
still
because
you, but
I have customized the message that goes out, and whenever they respond, I definitely respond back. But a lot of times I don't even know that the response has gone out. I just engage after they have received that.
wonderful. It's definitely what our hope was, kind of getting that built in there is for people like you who are out shopping right now and can't stop and think about these things in the
Yes. Now, in the first year when I wasn't very busy, yes, I was sitting down sending every text message, trying to re-engage everybody. Look, I saw you signed up. Would you still like you? Do you have any more questions? Because I took the university classes with you guys, and that was a suggestion. Keep your clients engaged. Send out a text. So I was doing all of that stuff, and then y'all started doing it for me, which was great.
Gives you a little bit of time back.
I appreciate that. Yes, I appreciate that a lot.
Awesome. So you've joined us for a couple of office hours over the past year or so. Do you have any kind of takeaways from joining them?
Though during those early months when I was first beginning, those office hours were integral, and just listening to how other business owners were handling their business, trying to get some tips and tricks on how to set up my own business. Uh, Early on there was also like a Facebook group or something that was amazing for me because I got to see a lot of visuals and um, just examples of stuff that I should be doing that I wasn't doing, or maybe how I could do things better. Office hours now is just validation to I'm on the right track, or I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or yeah, that's exactly what I was doing, or oh, maybe I could have done it like that. So when I am able to pop in, I'm usually in my car in between jobs, and I like to sit down and listen and maybe get into the group chat to put my 2 cents in. But whenever I'm able to, I love to join just to make sure that I'm on the right track. Or if I can help somebody with a different perspective, I try to interject.
it's
Always
so funny you say that because, yeah, I think you started right by kind of seeing what other people were doing, and now the tables have turned where people follow you as kind of an inspiration. And so, and kind of want to know what you're up to, and they kind of take their own spins on that. And so it's lovely to kind of see you grow in that way just over a couple years, it's not a long time.
I know it is, but it is kind of full circle because a lot of the people who have been in it a lot longer and have much bigger markets than I do, like the people in California, the people that are in Florida, they have way more experience and a lot more clients than I did at the time. So I was like, let's see what they're doing and what's working for them. And then I realized I don't have access to a lot of stuff that they have access to, so I have to make it work for me.
Yeah.
So I think the people who are following me now that are new business owners are like, I see what she's doing, but how can I make it work for me?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then within that, I know you mentioned Dumpling University. Was there anything with the onboarding process that you found very helpful in starting your business with Dumpling?
I'm much older. I'm trying to remember everything that happened in the onboarding process. Honestly, I don't remember everything verbatim, but I just remember how that it was very helpful to me. Telling, uh, explaining the difference between flat pricing and percentage pricing. How to communicate with your clients, what I could and could not deliver. All of that stuff was extremely helpful when I first began.
So,
We love to hear that. I think you kind of touched on some of it already too, just talking about kind of the mindset change of no, now I'm a business owner and I have to kind of think about what I put out there and what I say and just be attached to that. And um, so I think you obviously have absorbed a lot of the getting started sort of train and just taken that on really well. Um, so yeah, it's funny because in the time it seems so overwhelming. It's such a big difference, but then it just becomes so normal that this is how we
Like
do
second,
things.
like second nature. Like, what was I doing before? Like, why was I doing that when I could have been doing
Yeah.
this the whole time?
I can't imagine going back to the other way now.
Ever. And I'm just looking at, even when I'm in there shopping for myself and I'm like, it's chatting with the people in the store, and because they all know me now. And I'm looking at all the big box people just doing this and it's kind of lost. And I'm like, oh, you need a hand? You need to know what this is? Or you ever thought about starting a business for yourself? Because I have those chats now. I'm like, you ever thought about, branching off on your own? Let me tell you about this company.
yeah.
And sometimes they doing that. Sometimes they're like, no. I'm like, okay.
It's
So it's such a difference. But yeah, when you're in it every day, it's like you don't quite see it sometimes.
Right.
exactly. And it's different for everybody. Some people will find that their own business, that's something that they want to do and they strive for it. Other people are like, oh, I have to get my own clients. I have to do everything myself. And that can be the big turnoff, right? Because
That's a huge turn off for a lot of people that they
exactly.
have to build their client.
Yeah, they want to just log in and get orders, not have to
And
do
I
something
I
else.
get that. I
Exactly.
absolutely get that. But
Exactly.
with that volume of clients, you also don't know what you're getting.
Exactly. Like you said earlier, you don't get to pick and choose. You don't get, I mean, you see like what the address I think that pops up or whatever, but even then, like you have to remember who lives at what address and whether or not it was a client that you were like, I probably don't want to deliver to this one again. So it's just it makes it really, and you only have what? It's been a while since I've done Instacart, but it's not forever to accept
Not
the
a
order
lot of time. It's not a
time.
lot of
Yeah. So it definitely
another thing. I'm sorry. Another thing that I'd like to touch on is when I was talking about my delivery area. I live in New Orleans. There are certain areas and neighborhoods as a woman that I don't want to deliver to by myself. So I'm able to say, when you reach out to me, that's outside of my delivery zone, or I don't deliver to that area. With big box, you just get what you get, and you don't really know where you're going all the time, and then you wind up in a situation that you don't feel safe or secure in. I don't ever want to do that again.
Yeah. And on top of that, I felt like with that timer ticking and not being able to talk to people outside of just during the order time, I really care about customer service and food safety in the way that you do. And I just felt like I couldn't give that. I
Exactly.
couldn't give them my best. They were just getting the rushed version. And that was just kind of hard for me at the end of the day because you would run into these situations where it was like someone ordered because they just had a baby or they just had a surgery or like these big moments in their life and you couldn't actually fully take care of them, which was just really difficult. And so being able to transition in that way and say, okay, I can stay for a few minutes at drop off and kind of have a conversation or check in or help them with something else was just a big game changer for me. And it just made me feel better at the end of the day going home.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, we have service hearts. So
Yeah.
we want to go that extra mile. I have a client that has a disability. She was working and had I think it's like a 12-hour shift. And she wanted delivery, but she knew she wouldn't be home until after my business hours. I said, let me know what time you're home. I'll stay a little later. I don't want your groceries sitting in the hallway waiting for you and somebody might get them, or that's not safe to me food wise for refrigerator stuff to be sitting out in the hallway for an hour. So I'll delay my time and just come when I know you're available. That's not a problem for me. You're not going to get that with other services because they're on time. So it's every delivery needs to move on so they can get to the next delivery. I have my own business. I'm here for you as my client. So it's the little things I think like that make repeat clients for us and get word of mouth to other people.
Awesome. Well, lastly, if you could give others that are like thinking of starting their own business one tip on doing so, what would that be?
Research. Do your research. Look into what else is available out there. Um, if it's the between the gig world and like starting your own business. The amount of effort and energy that you put into working for somebody else, you can put into working for yourself and see a return tenfold in just your peace of mind and happiness daily. Um, After I signed up with Dumpling and got situated and settled, I'm so much more content in where I am today than where I was running around working for somebody else, wearing somebody else's brand on my chest every day. This is amazing for me to be able to walk around with my own every day and have it recognized.
You did it. You built it all from scratch, right? You're the reason you're doing so well. It's not, obviously Dumbling is here, but we're just that platform that kind of helps you along the way. You did all of the work that really needed to be done, and that it's so you deserve to be super proud of yourself because it's a lot of work. It's super hard work. Not everybody can do it. And it is so gratifying at the end of the day to just see like how far you come over the years and just be like, I did that. That was me, nobody else.
It, I would love to say it was just me and nobody else, but it was making the right connections and partnering up with people who were able to do my branding and help me with social media and getting with the right businesses. It was a lot of cooperation between a lot of people that kind of all worked together to get me where I am. So I appreciate all of everybody's help.
And then I guess with that, we'll kind of go ahead and wrap up. Thank you so much, Dominique, for joining us and chatting and just sharing your experiences within your business. I think those that are just finding out will take so many little nuggets from the things that you have said, um, and just kind of start that cycle over. We really enjoyed chatting with you. Um, I learn something every time I talk to you, and even though I've been here for a while too.
Me
So,
too. I learn every time.
so yes, thank you, and we'll talk to you soon, and um, look forward to kind of seeing what comes next for you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all.
You're welcome and thank you.